Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. Bread in my hands is Electric Life, The Hidden Radiance of Everything by Sander Funneman and Peter Brouwers. So this is a release by 23rd Street, and the reason I want to bring this up is that its sister publisher, First Second, has a series of comics called Science Comics, and Science Comics takes you through very basic concepts, great introduction to all these tons of different concepts. You can learn about electricity, you can learn about computers, you can learn about dinosaurs and how bridges work, and just it has a wide range of topics, and they're a great way to dive in and like learn the basics of stuff. So Electric Life kind of feels like the not pseudoscience, but the border science, relative of those science comics. So Electric Life goes into this concept of like that electricity and magnetism like rules everything. It goes in and says this is a fairly new concept, a fairly new idea. It's still being explored, but it kind of like shapes and almost attempts to like explain the world or organize the world or align the world. I don't know how you want to describe it. Like all through the concepts of electricity and magnetism. So like perfect example of it takes you through a whole bunch of stuff. It takes you through like insects and bees and plants and just lightning in general and human beings and just all this stuff and how like electricity affects us and magnetism affects us and all that. So like example it has in this that it's intriguing is that it talks about like bees, and where I always thought was like bees when they go to flowers they kind of roll around and that's how they get the pollen on this says there's more to it, and that like one's positive and one's a negative, and they're kind of attracted that way, and the pollen just kind of goes on the bees, which I don't know. It's the thing with this is like it's an interesting book. It gets me to think, and it got me to like really kind of go, but I can't tell how much of it's bullshit and how much of it's reality. Now it lists off a whole bunch of other sites, other like reading that you can check out, but even that makes me kind of go, So it's got suggested reading. And it says if you're eager to delve deeper into the fascinating world of Electric Life, below are some suggestions for other books to help you continue your journey. But it doesn't stop there. Go to Electric Life Book to explore an extensive, meticulously curated collection of websites, scientific articles, and books that substantiate the ideas in each chapter of this graphic novel. The wealth of resources allow you to immerse yourself fully in the science behind Electric Life. So it's like substantiate the ideas, but at the same time not necessarily like prove the ideas. Does that make sense? Like it feels like it's one of those of I'm a huckster and here's other huckster stuff to read. I'm not saying that this is, but that's kind of the vibe you get. It feels very like and this is where I'm cautious, is like we live in a world where clearly science is being rejected. We got people who don't believe in vaccines. We have people who are just rejecting the idea of science in general. That the world is flat, whatever. It's healthy to have skepticism. It's healthy to have skepticism that questions, things. But you need some sort of evidence to like really, reject that or think about that or like explore other options. This throws out a whole bunch of ideas, but doesn't feel like it necessarily presents the evidence for this stuff. So, there's some things that I've heard, you can like make plants play music and hook them up and get electricity from that. There's things that I know exists, but it feels like it takes it to that other level. Like, you've always heard people like, oh, if you take off your shoes and go on grass, like there's positive ions that flow through you or negative ions or whatever. There's ions that go through you. That's thrown in here, but it doesn't really kind of sit there and be like, here's the proof of it. Here's the science of it. Like, this is what we know. Compare that to the science comics, which really take you through the, like, here's how it works, here's how we know it works, here is the scientific evidence, here are the facts. So this kind of feels more like pseudoscience or like, stuff that's still being explored. It doesn't quite have that weight that the science comics does, which explains why this is, to me, 23rd Street as opposed to science comic, because it's not definitive necessarily, a definitive take, nor does it really go out of its way to explain the specifics. It's more about exploring concepts. So it's an interesting read. I don't know how serious to take it, but it's definitely an interesting read. if people know more about this and say, no, this is grounded in something, like, cool, throw out actual scientific journals to read. I'd be fascinated to go off that, but, like, I don't know. It's there's a lot of books in this, but, like, here it says the electric sky, I challenge the myths of modern astronomy. Like, to me, that doesn't necessarily have, like, the weight of, no, this is fact. It has the weight of, like, hey, if you want to learn more about this, here's other things to read that discusses this, but not necessarily things. It's not like we're talking, like, hey, here's some studies here that you can go and learn about this that have been, double-blind studies and recreated and all that. Like, it doesn't quite feel like it has that authoritative, like, I really would call it authoritative, facts. So it's interesting. It's intriguing. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I think's fascinating, and there might be something here. It does talk about, like, really kind of cool stuff with bees and electricity and magnetism and how they kind of figure out where their homes are and studies that have been done, things that have been done. So, like, yeah, it's fascinating. It really is fascinating. But I think that's my thing. Is, like, I can't tell how much of it's bullshit and how much of it's, like, legit science. So, interesting read. But I'm going to go with that. Interesting read. I'm not going to say this is one that, like, you need to go and check out, and this is a great place to go and start learning about the subject, because I don't know how much of it is legit, if that makes sense. So, interesting release. I'll still give it to 23rd. 23rd Street has put out a very wide variety of graphic novels in its first year and showed a commitment to trying new things. So, interesting. It is one of the more interesting releases that I've read lately. You can go get this. It's out in shops. We got a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. Tell the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We got some links where you can purchase your own. There'll be affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage, and by doing that, you'll support our site. So thank you. But just watching our video support us as always, so thank you as well. If you are into comics, check us out every day at graphicpolicy.com. And of course, we're on Facebook, TikTok, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Till next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.